call center occupies 3 floors of an office building on Union Avenue in Memphis. The building is older but maintained. Brick facade, narrow windows, a parking garage underneath. Most employees work day shifts. A smaller crew handles overnight calls. The building is quiet after midnight. Fluorescent lights hum in empty hallways. At 2:47 a.m. on March 15, 2020, a woman walks out of a storage room on the 3rd floor. Her name is Vanessa Torres. She is 28. She works the overnight shift, taking customer service calls. Her shirt is torn at the collar. Her face is streaked with tears. She walks quickly down the hallway toward the elevator. Her hands shake as she presses the button. She rides the elevator to the ground floor. The security guard at the front desk looks up. His name is Carl Morton. He sees Vanessa's face and stands. "Are you okay?" Vanessa shakes her head. "I need to call the police." Carl hands her the desk phone. She dials 911. Her voice is thin when the dispatcher answers. She says her name, she gives the address. She says she was assaulted. The dispatcher asks if she is safe now. Vanessa says yes. The man is gone. Patrol units arrive at 2:54 a.m. 2 officers enter the building, Officer Ramirez and Officer Chen. They ask if Vanessa can talk. She nods. "What happened?" Vanessa's voice is steady but quiet. "I was working my shift. Around 2 a.m. I went to the storage room on the 3rd floor to get printer paper. A man followed me into the room. He blocked the door. He pushed me against the wall. He assaulted me. I tried to push him away. He was too strong. When he was finished, he left. I waited until I was sure he was gone. Then I came downstairs." "Do you know the man?" "Yes." "His name is Brandon Lewis. He works the same shift. We're co-workers." "Is Brandon still in the building?" "I don't know. I haven't seen him since he left the storage room." Ramirez radios for backup. Paramedics arrive at 3:02 a.m. They examine Vanessa in a private office. She has bruising on her wrists and upper arms. The collar of her shirt is torn. A paramedic asks if she wants to go to the hospital for a full examination. Vanessa says yes. She knows she needs a rape kit. Before leaving, Vanessa gives Ramirez a description. Tall, around 6 feet, thin build, short dark hair. He was wearing jeans and a black hoodie. Ramirez and Chen go to the 2nd floor. They find the call center area. Rows of cubicles. Computer monitors glowing in the dim light. A few employees sit with headsets on, taking calls. Ramirez approaches the supervisor, a man named Tim Holloway. "I need to know if Brandon Lewis is working tonight." Tim checks the schedule. "Yes, he clocked in at 9:52 p.m., scheduled until 6:08 p.m. "Where's he now?" Tim looks around the floor. "I don't see him. He might be on break." "Does the building have security cameras?" "Yes, hallways, lobby, parking garage, and stairwells. No cameras in the bathrooms or storage rooms." "I need access to the footage." Tim calls the building manager. At 3:30 a.m., the building manager arrives. Her name is Susan Patel. She unlocks the security office and loads the camera footage on a computer. Ramirez asks for footage from the 3rd floor between 1:30 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. The hallway camera shows Vanessa walking toward the storage room at 2:18 a.m. She carries a box. 30 seconds later, a man in a black hoodie walks in the same direction. The man's face is partially visible. "Do you recognize him?" Susan squints at the screen. "It looks like Brandon Lewis. I've seen him in the building before." Ramirez fast forwards. At 2:41 a.m., the man in the hoodie walks out of the storage room and heads toward the stairwell. He moves quickly. His head is down. "Show me footage from the 1st floor fire door." At 2:43 a.m., the man in the hoodie exits through the fire door into the alley. The footage does not show his face clearly, but the hoodie and build match. Ramirez asks to see footage from earlier in the night. Susan pulls up footage from 9:52 p.m. Brandon enters the building through the front entrance. He swipes his employee badge at the turnstile. The camera captures his face clearly. He is wearing a black hoodie and jeans. Check the key card logs. When did Brandon last swipe his badge? Susan pulls up the access log. Brandon's badge was used to enter at 9:52 p.m. It was used to swipe out at 11:58 p.m. Ramirez stops. Wait, he swiped out at 11:58 p.m., 2 hours before the assault? That's what the log shows. Ramirez looks at Chen. If Brandon swiped out at 11:58 p.m., he should have left the building, but the footage shows someone in a black hoodie assaulting Vanessa at 2:18 a.m. Can employees swipe out and then stay in the building? They're not supposed to, but there's no mechanism preventing it. The turnstiles only control entry, not exit. You can walk out the front door without swiping, but you can't get back in without a badge. Ramirez asks to see the elevator footage. At 11:56 p.m., Brandon exits the elevator and walks toward the front entrance. At 11:58 p.m., he swipes his badge at the turnstile. The camera shows him walking toward the exit, but he does not leave. He turns and walks toward a hallway that leads to the stairwell. Show me the stairwell footage. At 11:59 p.m., Brandon enters the stairwell. He walks up, not down. He goes to the third floor. At 12:01 a.m., he exits the stairwell onto the third floor. Brandon swiped out at 11:58 p.m., but he did not leave. He went to the third floor. He stayed in the building for more than 2 hours after his official exit. Does the building have vending machines? Yes, there's one on each floor. Do they keep transaction logs? Yes, the machines are cashless. They accept credit cards and mobile payments. All transactions are logged centrally. Susan calls the vending company. At 4:15 a.m., the vending company emails the transaction logs. Susan opens the file and prints it. At 2:18 a.m., there is a transaction at the third floor vending machine. A credit card ending in 4738 was used to purchase a bag of chips for $1.75. The timestamp is 2:18 a.m., 2 minutes before the assault. Can you identify who owns that card? Susan calls the HR manager. The HR manager searches the payroll system. The card ending in 4738 belongs to Brandon Lewis. Ramirez stares at the log. Brandon used the vending machine on the third floor at 2:18 a.m., 2 minutes before the assault. But Brandon officially exited the building at 11:58 p.m. His badge says he was not in the building, but the vending machine says he was. At 4:45 a.m., Ramirez contacts Detective Sarah Vega at the Memphis Police Department. He briefs her on the situation. Vega says she will take over the investigation. She arrives at 5:20 a.m. She reviews the camera footage. She sees Brandon swipe out at 11:58 p.m. She sees him go to the stairwell and climb to the third floor. She sees the man in the hoodie follow Vanessa into the storage room at 2:18 a.m. She sees the same man leave at 2:41 a.m. and exit through the fire door. She reviews the vending machine log. Brandon's card at 2:18 a.m., 2 minutes before the assault, on the third floor. Is the vending machine data reliable? Yes. The machines are networked. They report transactions in real time to the vending company's server. The timestamps are accurate to the second. The vending machine places Brandon on the third floor at 2:18 a.m. The camera shows someone in a black hoodie entering the storage room at 2:18 a.m. The timeline matches. Vega asks for Brandon's home address and vehicle information. Susan pulls up his employee file. Address in Midtown Memphis. Vehicle: a white Ford F-150. Vega requests a patrol unit to check the address. At 6:10 a.m., a patrol unit arrives at Brandon's apartment. They knock. No answer. The apartment appears empty. Brandon's truck is not in the parking lot. Brandon is not home. Vega issues a bolo for Brandon's truck. She requests a warrant for Brandon's phone records, financial records, and vehicle GPS. The judge signs the warrant at 7:30 a.m. At 9:00 a.m., ALPR data arrives. Brandon's truck was captured heading east at 2:51 a.m., then north at 2:58 a.m. and 3:07 a.m. The truck was heading toward Midtown, but it never arrived at Brandon's apartment. The last ALPR capture was at 3:07 a.m. After that, the truck disappeared. Vega checks for additional cameras. A gas station at Poplar and Highland has surveillance. At 3:09 a.m., a white Ford F-150 matching Brandon's truck pulls into the gas station. The driver gets out. The camera captures his face. It is Brandon. He is wearing the black hoodie. He goes inside and buys a pack of cigarettes. He pays cash. He returns to his truck and drives away. Brandon looks calm. He does not appear rushed or panicked. He bought cigarettes 7 minutes after leaving the scene of a sexual assault. Brandon's phone records arrive at 10 a.m. His phone was active until 2:39 a.m. on March 15th. At 2:39 a.m., the phone was powered off. It came back online at 6:47 a.m. During the off period, the phone did not ping any towers, no calls, no texts, no data. The assault occurred around 2:20 a.m. Brandon left the building at 2:43 a.m. His phone went offline at 2:39 a.m., 4 minutes before he left. Brandon turned off his phone during the assault. At 11 a.m., Vega receives a call from patrol. They located Brandon's truck parked outside a motel on Summer Avenue. The motel clerk confirms Brandon checked in at 4:32 a.m. on March 15th. He paid cash for one night. Room 214. Brandon is not checked out. His truck is still in the lot. Vega and 2 detectives drive to the motel. They approach room 214 and knock. No answer. They knock again and announce, "Memphis Police, open the door." Silence. The motel manager unlocks the door with a master key. Vega enters first. The room is small and dim. The curtains are drawn. A bed with rumpled sheets. A duffel bag on the floor. Brandon is not here. Vega examines the duffel bag. Inside, clothing, toiletries, Brandon's laptop, and the black hoodie. She bags the hoodie. At 3:47 p.m., patrol spots Brandon walking near the motel. He is wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. Officers approach. "Brandon Lewis, you're under arrest for sexual assault." Brandon does not resist. He is handcuffed and placed in the back of a patrol car. His truck is impounded. The motel room is sealed as a crime scene. Brandon is transported to the Shelby County Jail. He is booked and photographed. His court-appointed attorney, Angela Morris, arrives at 5 p.m. Morris reviews the charges with Brandon. Sexual assault, false imprisonment, tampering with evidence. If convicted on all counts, you could face up to 33 years in prison. "I didn't do it. I was home. I left work before midnight. Someone is setting me up." "What about the vending machine transaction?" "I don't know how my card was used. Maybe someone cloned it. Maybe the machine made an error." Morris writes this down. She does not look convinced. The lab completes preliminary testing on the black hoodie. DNA is found on the collar and sleeves. The DNA profile matches Brandon Lewis. Fibers are found that match the fabric of Vanessa's torn shirt. Trace amounts of Vanessa's DNA are on the hoodie. The lab processes Brandon's phone. Digital forensics extract the data. The phone was manually powered off at 2:39 a.m. It was powered back on at 6:47 a.m. The first activity was a Google search, Memphis sexual assault laws. The second search, can you go to jail without evidence? The third search, how to get charges dropped. Forensics also recovered deleted photos from Brandon's phone. One photo is time-stamped 2:06 a.m. on March 15th. The photo shows the third-floor hallway from Brandon's perspective. The vending machine is visible in the background. Brandon was on the third floor at 2:06 a.m. He was waiting. Another deleted photo is time-stamped 2:31 a.m. The photo shows the fire door exit from inside the building. Brandon was planning his escape route. On March 17th, Brandon is arraigned. He appears in an orange jumpsuit with his hands cuffed. Morris stands beside him. The judge reads the charges. The judge asks how Brandon pleads. Not guilty on all counts. The prosecutor, Robert Chen, requests Brandon be held without bond. He checked into a motel after the assault instead of going home. He turned off his phone to avoid detection. He deleted photos from his phone. He is a danger to the community. The judge denies bond. Brandon is remanded to custody. Trial is scheduled for July 2020. The trial begins on July 20th, 2020. The prosecutor, Robert Chen, presents the evidence: the vending machine transaction log, the surveillance footage, Brandon's phone going offline, the deleted photos, the DNA evidence from the hoodie, the Google searches. Chen walks the jury through the timeline. 11:58 p.m., Brandon swipes out but does not leave. 11:59 p.m., Brandon climbs to the third floor. 2:06 a.m., Brandon photographs the hallway. 2:18 a.m., Brandon uses the vending machine. 2:20 a.m., Brandon follows Vanessa into the storage room and assaults her. 2:39 a.m., Brandon turns off his phone. 2:41 a.m., Brandon leaves the storage room. 2:43 a.m., Brandon exits through the fire door. 6:47 a.m., Brandon searches Google for sexual assault laws. Chen holds up the vending machine log. The vending machine transaction is the key. Brandon thought swiping out would give him an alibi. He thought no one would know he stayed in the building. But he made one mistake. He used the vending machine. He tapped his credit card. The machine remembered. The transaction was logged at 2:18:03 a.m., 2 minutes before Vanessa was assaulted, 50 feet from the storage room. Brandon Lewis is guilty. The evidence does not lie. Morris stands for the defense. The prosecution has built a case on circumstantial evidence and assumptions. They assume the person in the surveillance footage is Brandon. They assume Brandon used the vending machine. They assume Brandon took the deleted photos. But assumptions are not proof. The vending machine transaction is electronic data. Machines make mistakes. The prosecution cannot produce a witness who saw Brandon at the vending machine. They cannot produce video footage. All they have is a transaction log that could be wrong. The jury deliberates for 2 days. On July 23rd, they return with a verdict. Brandon stands. His hands shake slightly. The judge asks the foreperson to read the verdict. Guilty of sexual assault, guilty of false imprisonment, guilty of tampering with evidence. Brandon closes his eyes. Vanessa, sitting in the gallery, begins to cry quietly. Her mother holds her. The judge thanks the jury. Sentencing is set for August 15th. On August 15th, Vanessa gives a victim impact statement. She stands at the podium and looks at the judge. Brandon took something from me that I cannot get back. I no longer feel safe at work. I cannot walk down a hallway without looking over my shoulder. I cannot enter a storage room without my heart racing. Brandon planned what he did. He waited for me. He attacked me. He tried to erase his presence. He failed. The judge reviews the evidence. Your actions were calculated and predatory. You created a false alibi by swiping out of work. You positioned yourself on the third floor. You waited for an opportunity. You assaulted Vanessa Torres. You tried to cover your tracks by turning off your phone and deleting photos. But technology does not forget. The vending machine logged your presence. The surveillance cameras recorded your movements. The DNA evidence proved your contact. You underestimated the digital trail you left behind. The judge sentences Brandon to 15 years for sexual assault, 6 years for false imprisonment, and 10 years for tampering with evidence, all to run consecutively. 31 years total. Brandon will be eligible for parole after serving at least 85% of the sentence. Brandon is led from the courtroom. Vanessa watches him go. She does not smile. She simply watches. Brandon is transferred to a state correctional facility. He files an appeal arguing the vending machine transaction log should have been excluded. The appeal is denied. The evidence was properly admitted. The transaction log is reliable. Detective Vega keeps a copy of the vending machine transaction log in her case files. She uses it in training sessions. She tells investigators to follow the digital breadcrumbs. Badge swipes show intent. Surveillance footage shows movement. Transaction logs show presence. DNA shows contact. Together, they build a corridor that closes around a suspect. Technology remembers what people try to forget. Vanessa continues working at the call center for another year. She eventually transfers to a different company. She attends therapy. She rebuilds her life slowly. She joins a support group for assault survivors. She shares her story. The vending machine on the third floor continues operating. It dispenses snacks and drinks. It logs transactions. Employees tap their cards. The machine records the time, the card number, the purchase. Each transaction is sent to a server. Each timestamp is generated with precision. The machine does not judge. The machine does not forget. The machine simply records. One transaction will never be erased from the records. March 15, 2020. 2:18:03 a.m. third floor vending machine. Card ending in 4738. Chips, 175. A simple purchase, a routine transaction. But that transaction placed Brandon Lewis at the scene of a crime. That transaction corroborated Vanessa's testimony. That transaction helped convict a predator who thought he had created the perfect alibi. Brandon swiped out at 11:58 p.m. He thought that badge swipe would protect him. He thought no one would know he stayed in the building. He thought he could assault Vanessa and disappear. He was wrong. The vending machine logged a tap. The machine recorded his card. The machine remembered what Brandon tried to erase. The machine told the truth. And the truth sent Brandon Lewis to prison for 31 years.